There's a quiet thief that sneaks into the lives of millions of older adults. It doesn't break windows or take your wallet, but it steals something far more precious, the freedom to move without pain. That thief is arthritis, and if you've ever woken up with stiff fingers that won't quite bend, or knees that ache just from walking across the room, you know exactly how it robs joy from everyday life. But here's the surprising truth. While many people believe arthritis is an unstoppable march of aging, research shows we have far more control than we think. I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Channel Wellness Blueprint Over 50. Today, we're going to uncover something hidden in plain sight on your grocery shelf. 5 humble nuts that carry powerful compounds able to calm inflammation, protect your joints, and give back some of that stolen freedom. When I sit with patients in my clinic, I often hear the same weary sigh. Doc, my joints just don't work like they used to. I feel stiff, slow, and it seems like no pill ever really fixes it. That frustration is real, but sometimes the answers aren't in a prescription bottle. They're in your kitchen. And 2 of the most remarkable allies hiding in plain sight are walnuts and almonds. At first glance, they look ordinary, just crunchy snacks you toss into a salad or a cookie mix. But inside each one is a miniature pharmacy of nutrients that your joints desperately crave. Let's start with walnuts, because these little brain-shaped gems carry a secret weapon. Omega-3 fatty acids. You've probably heard of omega-3s in fish like salmon, but walnuts are one of the very few plant foods rich in them. And these aren't just any fats. Think of inflammation as a raging fire in your joints. Omega-3s are like firefighters arriving on the scene, calming the flames and cooling down the tissues. There's a landmark study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition that showed diets rich in omega-3s reduce inflammatory markers in the blood. For someone with arthritis, that's more than a lab result. It's the difference between greeting the morning with stiff, swollen fingers or with hands that actually open a jar without pain. Beyond omega-3s, walnuts carry antioxidants called polyphenols. If omega-3s are firefighters, then polyphenols are like the cleanup crew that sweep away the toxic ashes left behind. They neutralize free radicals, unstable molecules that attack healthy joint tissue the way rust eats away at metal. Over time, this protection slows down the damage that makes arthritis worsen year after year. I remember a patient named Susan, 67 years old, who came to me with swollen knuckles that made even writing painful. She loved painting, but arthritis had stolen her joy. We worked on a full lifestyle plan, but one of the simplest shifts she made was adding a small handful of walnuts into her morning oatmeal. 3 months later, she told me with tears in her eyes that she'd picked up her paintbrush again. It wasn't a miracle cure, nothing ever is, but the combination of anti-inflammatory foods, gentle exercise, and careful weight management allowed her hands to loosen enough to hold on to her art. For her, walnuts weren't just food, they were hope. Now let's walk over to almonds because they play a different but equally powerful role. If walnuts are the firefighters, almonds are the shield. Their gift to the body is vitamin E, one of the most potent antioxidants known. Imagine your joint tissue as a precious family photo album, something irreplaceable. Vitamin E acts like a protective sleeve around each page, preventing the ink from fading and the paper from tearing. By guarding your cells against oxidative stress, vitamin E slows down the wear and tear inside your joints. Research has shown that patients with higher vitamin E intake have less progression of joint damage, especially in osteoarthritis. Almonds also bring magnesium to the table, and this mineral is often overlooked. Magnesium relaxes muscles, eases tension, and supports bone strength. It's like the oil in a squeaky hinge, making sure the parts move smoothly without grinding against each other. For many of my patients, cramps and stiffness around the joints make arthritis pain worse. Adding magnesium-rich foods like almonds has helped ease that tension in ways medications alone could not. And let's not forget about their healthy fats. Monounsaturated fats, the same ones that give olive oil its heart-protective reputation. These fats have a double benefit. They lower inflammation throughout the body while also keeping the cardiovascular system strong. That's crucial because arthritis isn't just about joints. The chronic inflammation it causes raises the risk of heart disease. So when you snack on almonds, you're not just soothing your joints, you're protecting your heart as well. There's also a practical side to almonds. They're incredibly filling. For anyone struggling with weight, this is a gift. Excess pounds press down on the hips, knees, and ankles like a heavy backpack that never comes off. Losing even 5 or 10 pounds can dramatically reduce arthritis pain. Almonds, with their combination of protein, fiber, and healthy fats, help keep hunger at bay without spiking blood sugar. For my patients who wrestle with late-night snacking, I often recommend a small bowl of almonds. They satisfy the craving, protect the joints, and keep the scale from creeping upward. Here's something beautiful. Walnuts and almonds complement each other. One fights the fire, the other builds the shield. Together, they create an environment inside your body where healing becomes possible. You don't have to eat bags of them. Just a modest handful each day, maybe mixed into yogurt, sprinkled over a salad, or blended into a smoothie. These are small, delicious choices that accumulate into big results. And isn't that the secret to lasting health? It's not about dramatic overnight fixes. It's about steady, daily steps that slowly but surely give you back the freedom arthritis tries to steal. So the next time you see a bowl of nuts at a party or walk past the baking aisle in the grocery store, don't overlook them. In their simple shells, walnuts and almonds hold the power to transform stiff mornings into easier days, painful joints into moving ones, and the loss of independence into a renewed sense of possibility. When I think of pistachios, I often smile because they remind me of laughter. Why? Because you can't eat them without cracking them open first. There's something playful about peeling away the shell to find that green treasure inside. But what many people don't realize is that inside that shell lies more than just a tasty snack. Pistachios are like nature's little pharmacists, dispensing compounds that soothe inflammation and support aching joints in ways that rival modern medicine. Their greatest gift is monounsaturated fat, the same type that made the Mediterranean diet famous for heart health. But here's where it gets interesting. These fats don't just protect the heart, they actually lower inflammatory markers in the body. Inflammation is at the very heart of arthritis, the hidden villain behind swelling, stiffness, and pain. By quieting that inflammation, pistachios help turn down the volume on the body's constant alarm bells. They're also bursting with antioxidants like lutein and polyphenols. Think of antioxidants as guardians patrolling the castle walls of your joints. Every day, free radicals, unstable molecules, attempt to break in and wreak havoc, damaging cartilage and accelerating the grind of arthritis. Antioxidants stand at the gate, neutralizing those invaders before they can cause harm. And the beauty of pistachios is that you're not just getting one or two antioxidants, you're getting an entire squadron. Add to that their protein content, which helps repair muscles and maintain strength around the joints. Many people overlook this, but the muscles act like scaffolding for the skeleton. When muscles are strong, they absorb some of the shock and pressure that would otherwise land squarely on the joints. Pistachios fuel that support system. Another often forgotten benefit is their fiber. It's not glamorous, but fiber shapes the health of your gut. And here's the exciting part. Scientists have uncovered a strong link between gut health and inflammation throughout the body. A well-fed gut microbiome can actually dial down inflammatory signals. That means your bowl of pistachios is quietly influencing not just digestion, but the intensity of arthritis itself. For patients who need to watch their weight, pistachios are a smart choice. Compared to many other nuts, they're lower in calories per handful. That makes them ideal for someone who wants the joint pain relief benefits of nuts without packing on extra pounds. I've seen patients who swapped out sugary evening snacks for a handful of pistachios and, within months, not only noticed looser joints, but also dropped several pounds. A double victory in the fight against arthritis pain. Now let's turn to a very different nut. One that doesn't ask you to crack shells or peel skins, but instead offers power in the tiniest of servings. The Brazil nut. If pistachios are the playful snack, Brazil nuts are the heavyweight champions. Their claim to fame is selenium, a trace mineral with almost mythical status in the world of inflammation. Selenium is like a master conductor in an orchestra, guiding antioxidant enzymes to play in harmony, neutralizing oxidative stress and calming immune overreactions. For people with autoimmune arthritis, such as rheumatoid arthritis, Selenium can be a game changer. Their immune system, meant to protect, instead turns against the joints like a guard dog that's lost its training. Selenium helps retrain that dog, reducing the ferocity of the attack. There's strong research supporting this. A study published in Annals of the Rheumatic Diseases found that people with lower selenium levels were more likely to experience severe joint damage. That's a powerful reminder that sometimes healing isn't about adding more drugs. It's about correcting silent deficiencies. Brazil nuts do this almost effortlessly. The beauty is you don't need a bowlful. 1 or 2 nuts a day provide all the selenium your body requires. But there's a caution here too. Too much selenium can be harmful, so it's about precision, not excess. I always remind my patients, Brazil nuts are powerful medicine disguised as food. Treat them with respect. One patient comes to mind, George, a retired firefighter in his early 70s. He had battled rheumatoid arthritis for years, the kind that left his fingers swollen and his mornings miserable. Medications helped, but not enough. We added Brazil nuts to his routine, just 2 each morning with breakfast. 3 months later, he told me something remarkable. The swelling in his hands had eased, and for the first time in years, he could button his shirt without assistance. That small dignity brought tears to his eyes. Did Brazil nuts cure his arthritis? Of course not. But by supplying his body with a missing mineral, they tipped the scales in his favor. And sometimes, in medicine, that's all it takes, a nudge in the right direction. What makes pistachios and Brazil nuts such a compelling pair is that they tackle arthritis from 2 angles. Pistachios calm everyday inflammation and strengthen the supporting structures, while Brazil nuts target the deeper immune dysfunction often at play in autoimmune arthritis. One is playful and plentiful, the other rare and potent. Together, they remind us that healing isn't about one magic bullet. It's about weaving together small, consistent threads of nourishment that over time create a stronger fabric of health. So whether you're shelling pistachios on a summer afternoon or savoring a single creamy Brazil nut with your morning tea, know that you're not just eating. You're equipping your body with tools to fight back against the silent thief called arthritis. And every crack of a shell or careful bite is another quiet step toward reclaiming freedom of movement, one day at a time. There's something almost nostalgic about pecans. For many of us, they bring back memories of pies cooling on the counter or holiday gatherings where a bowl of them sat waiting on the coffee table. But behind their warm, comforting flavor lies a hidden strength that can transform the way your joints feel. Pecans are loaded with antioxidants, particularly vitamin E and polyphenols, and these are far more than just fancy words. Imagine your joints as a well-loved wooden rocking chair. Over the years, exposure to sun, air, and constant use can leave the wood cracked and worn. Antioxidants are like a careful hand applying polish and sealant, preserving that chair so it can rock smoothly for years to come. Inside your body, they guard against oxidative stress, which otherwise accelerates the breakdown of cartilage and deepens the pain of arthritis. What's striking about pecans is that they don't just provide antioxidants in isolation. They combine them with heart-healthy monounsaturated fats. These fats lower systemic inflammation, the kind that doesn't just harm the joints, but also increases the risk of heart disease. And here's the connection many people overlook. Arthritis isn't only about creaky knees or stiff fingers. It's a whole-body condition tied closely to cardiovascular health. When we reduce inflammation in one system, we protect another. So when you enjoy a handful of pecans, you're not only fighting arthritis pain, but also fortifying the heart that has carried you through decades of living. Another often ignored treasure in pecans is their fiber content. At first glance, it may not seem like fiber has anything to do with joint pain relief, but the truth is profound. A healthy gut microbiome, the community of bacteria living inside your intestines, has a direct line of communication with your immune system. When nourished with fiber, those bacteria release compounds that tell the body to cool down inflammation. It's as if the gut whispers to the joints, "Relax, you're safe." And in that safety, the body stops overreacting and starts healing. This gut-joint connection is one of the most exciting frontiers in modern medicine, and pecans are a gentle but powerful way to nurture it. I remember a woman named Mary, 72, who told me she had given up gardening because bending over caused searing hip pain. Gardening had been her sanctuary, her way of staying connected to the earth and finding peace after her husband passed away. During one of our conversations, she asked me, "Dr. Brian, is there anything simple I can do besides take more pills?" Together, we built a plan, and one of the smallest but most enjoyable parts of it was introducing a daily snack of pecans. Over months, as she paired that with stretching and light walking, she noticed her hips becoming more forgiving. One spring day, she came back smiling, dirt still under her fingernails, and told me, "I planted roses again." For Mary, pecans weren't just food. They were part of reclaiming her identity. What makes pecans special is how they complete the story started by walnuts, almonds, pistachios, and Brazil nuts. Each nut brings its own superpower. Walnuts fight with omega-3s, almonds protect with vitamin E and magnesium, pistachios strengthen with protein and fiber. Brazil nuts empower with selenium. Pecans tie them all together, offering a broad spectrum of antioxidants and healthy fats that round out the orchestra. Alone, each nut is valuable. Together, they're like a symphony, harmonizing to create an anti-inflammatory melody that soothes the body from the inside out. And it doesn't take complicated recipes to invite this symphony into your life. Sprinkle chopped pecans on your morning oatmeal. Add a few to a spinach salad with berries. Enjoy them raw, roasted, or even in small portions of that holiday pie. Guilt-free. Small acts, repeated daily, slowly weave themselves into a tapestry of healing. Here's the deeper truth I want you to carry. Arthritis is not an inevitable sentence of decline. Yes, the joints change with age, but decline and despair are not the only path forward. Food is not just calories, it's information for your body. Every bite of a walnut, almond, pistachio, Brazil nut, or pecan is like sending your cells a message. Calm the fire, protect the tissue, rebuild what you can. Over time, those messages accumulate into real, visible change. Science backs this up. Studies consistently show that diets rich in nuts are associated with reduced inflammation, better mobility, and lower risk of chronic diseases. The evidence is strong, but the stories are even stronger. Patients like Susan painting again, George buttoning his shirt, Mary planting her roses. These are lives transformed not by miracle drugs, but by small, steady choices. So when you ask yourself, can something as simple as a nut really make a difference in my arthritis? My answer is yes. Not because nuts are magic, but because they are tools. Tools your body uses to repair, protect, and thrive. And when you give your body the right tools, even in your 60s, 70s, or 80s, it still knows how to heal. That is the beauty of being alive. Your body never stops trying to restore balance. All it needs is your partnership, and maybe, just maybe, a handful of pecans. So we've walked through walnuts and almonds, pistachios and Brazil nuts, and finally the humble pecan. Each of these nuts carries a different key, and together they unlock the door to less inflammation, better mobility, and a brighter quality of life. The nutrients they provide, omega-3s, vitamin E, selenium, magnesium, antioxidants, aren't just science terms. They're lifelines for tired joints. And the best part? They're simple, affordable, and delicious. I hope you feel empowered to make these small daily changes. If this inspired you, please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, stay strong and stay hopeful.